What happens to the hole in the cheese when the cheese has gone?
I have a question for you.
Oh,
No, seriously. And before you answer, I really want you to sit with it for a second. Don't just brush it off as nonsense, okay?
okay. I'm bracing myself.
Yeah.
Usually when you start like this, we end up talking about, I don't know, the history of zippers.
It might be a bit of both today. Here it is. What happens to the hole in the cheese when the cheese is gone?
Okay, that sounds deceptively simple.
Right.
It sounds like the start of a nursery rhyme. Or, maybe something the Mad Hatter would ask Alice right before pouring tea on a dormouse.
It does, doesn't it? It has that whimsical, kind of absurd quality. But here's the kicker. It is not from a children's book. It's the central premise of a new track by the artist Terence Hughes.
Right. So we're looking at his new album, Cyborg City, and we're diving deep into this one track, Hole in the Cheese.
Which is a fantastic title, I have to say. But before we get to the philosophy, we have to talk about the vibe. The source material describes the style as a big band arrangement with a modern twist.
And that's a really crucial piece of context.
Why is that?
Well, when you hear big band, you think of that wall of sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brass sections, this huge energy, all these complex layers. It's loud, it's brash.
Exactly. So you have to imagine this massive brassy sound.
Yeah.
And it's backing up these really enigmatic, brain-bending lyrics.
Yeah.
This isn't some quiet acoustic track where guys whispering about chews. It's a sonic assault.
And that contrast is everything. You've got the complexity of modern jazz, which is all about improvisation and tension and, breaking the structure. And you're pairing it with a question that breaks our understanding of reality.
And that brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We aren't just reviewing a song. We're not just going to say, oh, nice trumpet solo.
No.
Terence Hughes has explicitly thrown down the gauntlet. He is asking the listener, that's you and us, if we have an answer to the riddle.
He's actually looking for a solution to the problem of the whole.
So we're going to try and answer it. We're going to analyze the lyrics, which are titled The Vanishing Void and the Universal Rind, and see if we can solve this thing.
The universal rind. I love that. It elevates a simple snack to like a cosmological constant. Okay. I'm ready.
All right, let's unpack this. The song opens right away with that core question. I'm looking at the lyrics here. What happens to the hole in the cheese when the cheese is gone? Will it fade like a shadow without its sun?
See, that line right there, fade like a shadow without its sun, that stops me in my tracks.
Really? Why? It feels like a pretty standard metaphor.
On the surface, sure. But what it does is it moves us instantly from, dairy products to ontology.
Ontology. Okay, that's the heavy philosophical stuff about the nature of being, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
It asks, what does it mean for something to exist? The artist is highlighting a relationship of dependency.
Right.
Think about shadow. Does a shadow exist on its own? No. It needs a light source, and it needs an object to block that light.
Okay.
You take away the sun, the shadow doesn't, pack its bags and move to the next town. It just ceases to be.
Right. And in this metaphor, the sun is the cheese, the actual physical matter. The whole is defined entirely by what's around it.
Exactly. We define a whole by the absence of material. It's a not thing. But, and this is where our brains get tied in knots, we talk about wholes as if they are things. You say, there's a hole in my sock. You treat it like an object. You can point to it. You can stick your finger through it.
But if I take the sock away...
the hole is gone.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
is it? That's what he's asking. Will it fade? That implies a lingering doubt.
Right.
Does the void remain even if its boundaries are gone?
It feels like a word game, though. I mean, obviously, if the cheese is gone, the hole is gone. Why complicate it?
Because it speaks to a very deep human anxiety. We define ourselves by our context. I'm a podcaster because I'm here recording a show.
Sure.
If you remove the context, if the cheese of our lives disappears, do we still exist? Or do we just fade like a shadow?
Okay, that got dark very quickly. But I see your point. It's the classic problem of the container and the contained. If you have a cup, the empty space inside is what makes it useful.
Right.
You smash the cup, and that space just merges with the rest of the room. But did that specific cup space stop existing? Or did it just become part of everything else?
Exactly. And the lyrics suggest the narrator isn't sure. He asks, with the answer to this question, is there anyone who can tell me what happens to the hole in the cheese when the cheese is gone?
He's asking for help. It suggests the answer isn't obvious to him. It's an open invitation. Is there anyone who can tell me?
It creates this real sense of searching. The narrator is genuinely troubled by this. It's not just a fun riddle. It feels like a plea for understanding.
It's playful, sure. Using cheese is funny. But if you swap out cheese for memory or identity, it gets heavy fast.
But Hughes doesn't let us sit in that specific philosophical puddle for too long, because the song takes this massive left turn. We go from this tiny micro-observation of a cheese slice, and suddenly the camera just zooms out. Way, way out.
This is the bridge. And keeping that big band vibe in mind, this is where I imagine the brass section is going absolutely wild. The lyrics go, "Nothing comes from nothing. I don't believe this to be true unless these supermassive black holes colliding in space got nothing else better to do."
I mean, it is such a jarring transition, but it's brilliant.
It really is. Talk about an escalation.
We were just talking about a snack, and now we're on to supermassive black holes colliding in space.
But look at the logic. Nothing comes from nothing. That's a famous philosophical idea, right? Ex nihilo nihil fit. You can't create something out of a void.
Right, yeah.
But the narrator says, I don't believe this to be true. He's a skeptic.
He's challenging the fundamental laws of physics and philosophy. And he uses black holes as his counterargument. Now, scientifically, black holes aren't nothing. They're actually the opposite. They're incredibly dense something. But to an observer, to us, looking up, they look like holes in reality. They're voids where light just disappears.
And the lyrics seem to suggest that if nothing comes from nothing, then why are these massive voids just smashing into each other? It's like he's seeing the hole in the cheese echoed on a galactic scale. The universe is full of holes.
Exactly. He's drawing a parallel between the missing cheese and the cosmic void. If a black hole is a hole in space-time and it collides with another one, what do you get? A bigger hole.
And I love the attitude here. Unless these supermassive black holes got nothing else better to do.
It's hilarious. It personifies these terrifying cosmic events.
Yeah.
Like the black holes are just bored, hanging out on a Friday night, crashing into each other because there's nothing on TV.
It brings the whole cosmos down to a human level. It makes the universe feel a little less intimidating and a little more like us. Just stumbling around, colliding into things.
And that personification is important. It suggests that even the biggest, scariest holes in the universe might just be mundane, not something to be terrified of.
So we have the cheese hole and we have the black hole, but then the song hits the chorus and the tone shifts again. It gets personal.
It really does. The lyrics say, when you're dug in a hole, all hope is gone.
So now the hole isn't in the cheese, and it's not in space.
It's in the mind.
Dug in a hole, we've all used that phrase, I'm in a deep hole, I'm digging myself into a hole. It's that feeling of being stuck.
Trapped.
And the lyric says, all hope is gone. That links directly back to the cheese is gone line.
Right. Think about the connection. If the cheese is the substance, the joy, the money, the relationship, the stuff of life, then when that's gone, you're just left with the hole.
You're left with the void of depression or despair.
And that's a terrifying place to be. If you believe the hole is what defines you, then when all the good stuff is gone, you feel like you're nothing.
But, and this is the crucial turning point of the whole song, it offers a remedy. It doesn't just leave you there in the dirt.
No, it doesn't.
The lyrics command you, look to the heavens, see the stars and the shining suns.
It's a shift in perspective. Literally. When you're dug in a hole, you're looking down at the dirt. The song says, chin up. Look up.
And what do you see? Stars and shining suns. And then comes the big realization, the payoff for the whole metaphor. Hard not to believe. There's enough cheese for everyone.
I love that line so much. There is enough cheese for everyone.
It sounds so funny out of context, but right here, it's actually really moving.
It recontextualizes everything. Suddenly, the cheese isn't just a physical object that can vanish.
No.
It represents abundance. Energy. The stars are burning balls of energy. The suns are sources of life.
So if you're stuck in your own personal hole thinking everything is gone, you just need to realize the universe is literally made of cheese.
In a manner of speaking, yes, it's a total anti-scarcity mindset. The hole in the cheese creates anxiety. Oh no, it's missing. It's gone.
I have less.
But the stars and shining suns prove that the universe is overwhelmingly full of stuff. Light, heat, matter.
So the whole doesn't matter as much when you realize the whole universe is the rind.
The universal rind. Exactly what the title of the lyrics told us. The title was a clue all along. The vanishing void is the fear. The universal rind is the reality.
That is surprisingly comforting. Who knew big band jazz could be this therapeutic?
Well, jazz has always wrestled with the blues, right? It acknowledges the pain, the whole, but it transforms it. It fills the room with sound. It fills the whole.
But we aren't done yet. Because just when you think you've got it figured out, look at the stars, feel better, the verse comes in with some very specific, very cryptic details.
This is the part of the song that feels like a locked door.
The lyrics go, so 9, 6, and 3, this zoo is not for me, not for me.
9, 6, and 3.
Just those numbers, no explanation, 9, 6, and 3. Does that mean anything to you?
Honestly, in the context of the source material we have, it's a complete enigma.
It feels so intentional, though, like a code we aren't supposed to crack.
And it adds to the mystery.
Yeah.
We've been talking about things we can see. Cheese, stars, black holes, but 9, 6, and 3, that represents the abstract, the data, the underlying code of the universe that we don't have the manual for.
It's frustrating. I want to know what it means.
And maybe that frustration is the point. You can look at the stars and feel hope, but there will always be parts of existence, the 9, 6, and 3, they're just noise to us.
But immediately after he drops those numbers, he says, this zoo is not for me. Not for me. Can't make a monkey out of me.
Which is a sharp pivot back to social reality. A zoo implies captivity.
Being watched.
Being kept in a cage, yeah.
And can't make a monkey out of me is a classic idiom for don't fool me or don't humiliate me.
But think about it in the context of the album's title, Cyborg City.
Oh, right. Cyborgs. Part man, part machine.
If you're in a cyborg city and you're rejecting the zoo, what are you saying?
You're rejecting the system.
You're rejecting the programming. You're rejecting the idea that you're just a biological machine, a monkey in a cage, who's just meant to produce and consume.
So he's saying, I see the code 9, 6, 3. I see the stars. I know there's abundance. I'm not going to sit in this cage and worry about one little hole in the cheese.
Exactly. It's a declaration of independence. This zoo is not for me. He's opting out of the scarcity game. He's opting out of the rat race, or the monkey race, I guess.
Yeah.
He refuses to be defined by the cage or the hole.
It feels like a rebellion. The music must be going crazy here. I imagine the drums are just frantic.
It fits the theme of breaking out. You can't contain a big band sound in a small room, and you can't contain this narrator in a zoo.
And the verse resolves with this really personal conclusion. Easy to see if there's enough cheese for you. There is enough cheese for me.
And that's the synthesis. We went from what happens to the whole, which is all confusion and loss, to there is enough cheese for everyone, which is this universal hope, to there is enough cheese for me.
He's claiming his slice.
He is. He's accepting the abundance personally. He's no longer worried about the void. He knows that if the universe is full of suns, he can get his share. He doesn't have to be a monkey in a zoo fighting over scraps.
So in a way, the answer to the riddle, what happens to the whole, is, who cares? Look at all this cheese.
That is certainly one way to interpret it. It's a shift in focus. Don't fixate on the lack. Fixate on the substance. If you focus on the hole in your bank account, you feel poor. If you focus on your potential to earn or the value you have, you feel capable.
I love that. But, you know, the song, it doesn't let us off the hook that easily.
No, it loops back.
We go through this entire journey, black holes, despair, starlight, escaping the zoo, and then how does it end?
It ends exactly where it began. The final line is the question repeated. What happens to the hole in the cheese when the cheese is gone?
It's haunting. After all that realization, the mystery just remains.
It suggests that while you can find emotional peace, there is enough cheese. The ontological mystery, the puzzle of existence itself, doesn't just go away. You still have to live with the question.
So let's recap this wild ride. We have a modern jazz track by Terence Hughes. It lures us in with a riddle about dairy. It launches us into space to watch black holes collide because they're bored. It drags us through the despair of being dug in a hole, lifts us up to the stars to show us abundance. It rejects the zoo of society. And then finally, it drops us right back where we started.
It's a perfect loop, a circle, or
maybe
a hole.
Stop. You're making my brain hurt again. But really, what is the answer? Terence Hughes asked if anyone can tell him.
If we connect all the dots, I think the ambiguity is the point. But if I had to venture a guess, when the cheese is gone, the hole doesn't disappear. The hole becomes the room. The hole becomes the world.
Explain that.
Well, the hole was just a space defined by boundaries. When the barrier of the cheese is removed, that space is liberated. It rejoins the rest as space. It's not gone. It's freed.
So the whole becomes everything.
Or everything was the whole all along, and the cheese was just a temporary interruption.
That is actually kind of beautiful. And also terrifying.
That's the nature of deep philosophical inquiry, right? It should be a little bit of both.
I think the listener needs to chew on that one, pun intended.
Always intended.
I think what stands out to me most is the resilience in this track. It admits the cheese goes away, it admits the hole is there, but it refuses to stay in the dark. It demands to see the stars.
And that's the message. Even if you can't solve the riddle of existence, you can still recognize that there is enough cheese for everyone. You don't have to starve in the face of the void.
And you don't have to stay in the zoo. You don't have to let the numbers 9, 6, 3 control you.
Precisely. You can define your own reality outside of the whole.
So here's our final thought for you to take away. The song ends by asking the question again. It doesn't give you the answer on a silver platter. It wants you to do the work.
Terence Hughes challenged us. We've given our best shot, interpreting it as a journey from scarcity to abundance, from the micro to the cosmic.
But maybe you have a different answer. Maybe the whole is something else entirely for you. Maybe the cheese is something else. Maybe 963 is your PIN number. I don't know.
Listen to the track. Hear that big band with a modern twist. Feel the chaos in the structure. And ask yourself, when the things that define your life, your cheese, disappear, what happens to the space they leave behind? Does it fade, or does it become a window to see the stars?
That is the question. And frankly, I think the hole in the cheese might just be the most interesting part of the cheese.
And that's why we listen.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Go find your cheese.
Hole in the cheese. When the cheese is gone.